in God's name is going on in here? What was that ruckus?
What ruckus?
I was just in my office and I heard a ruckus.
Could you describe the ruckus, sir?
Okay, here's what I would have done. Bro, no one cares what you would have done. Actually, everyone cares. Welcome to Let Me Book the Territory, the podcast made for smart marks and nostalgia nerds. Brought to you by the Embrace the Turn Up Podcast Network. And now your hosts, A-Dub,
B.A.
E-Ray.
Oh yeah, it's about that time. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of the oldest ages, welcome to a very special episode of Let Me Book the Territory. It is I, E-Ray, the quasi-bad guy, the Diet Coke of evil, Macho Man Vandal Savage himself. I am joined by a new collaboration. This is the Wolfpack version of the fellas, because we got B.A. Chinstrap Jones, Scully McGullahan in the building. What's going on, Brody?
Ow, ow, ow! Wolfpack in the building.
Master Strush.
Right. BADVIC, a.k.a. Black IRS, a.k.a. just Virgil today for what we're doing. In the building.
I'm Macho Man Macho Man Randall Savage.
I like it.
That's what I have to say.
Like Stefan Urkel.
Ooh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. But yes, BA is in the building here for a very special episode. Not like those very special episodes on sitcoms where it would be some deep shit happening. It's actually going to be some fun shit tonight.
Right, when
serious.
somebody gets shot.
Right.
Someone got molested.
Exactly.
They play that serious music.
Mm-hmm.
Where's the clapping and the laughter?
Right.
The audience
Why
just
is
like,
there so much violin in the theme music? Anyway, but yes,
Right.
here to talk some wrestling shenanigans with you guys. Ready for it.
Yes, love it. And that other voice you're hearing is not the always constipated. It is not the sponsor of Dokalax himself, A-Dub, because this guy he's out of here. He's like, look, I'm done for the year. I am just on to new things. I'll be back next year. Guys, fire me if you need to. And I was like, Dub, it's okay. Just take your time, relax, and I'll find a replacement for you. And we have none other than Free himself, Free Illuminati, the undercover policeman of the bunch, Mr. Two Weeds, please. What's going on, Brosa?
Yo, what's up, y'all? It's your boy, M Free, aka Young Free, aka Cancer Free, aka Booker Free, aka the Steiner Math Tutor. I'm very, very happy to be here on this special occasion.
Absolutely. So, guys, it's just one of those times. We're at the end of the year. We've been rocking pretty strong with the Let Me Book crowd, doing all the things, enjoying our sellout status. We're almost complete. Just really making waves here. And since it's the end of the year, WWE, of course, is doing their reset. They're almost there. We're almost at the road to WrestleMania. Of course, that always starts with Royal Rumble. And, you know, AEW is AEW. And so we never know what the hell's happening. It's like, oh, that match is cool for what reason? We don't know. So we're not going to be on their schedule. What we're going to do this week, particularly because we're really giving this to you guys. Technically, we should be off enjoying our families. But, you know, the bookers, the book pod, we don't have a cool name for you yet. It's coming. But
stay tuned.
The fans of Let Me Book the Territory, you guys are family. So we wanted to make sure we didn't just leave you high and dry during the holiday, because people still listen to podcasts during the holiday. I assume so.
I would say
You know?
probably more
So-
during the holidays to not deal with
Yep.
their
Right, 'cause to
ridiculous
get away
families.
from their fucking families.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Shut up.
Catch up on their
Uncle.
backlog.
Right. Quit
Right,
trying to
man.
follow me
Uncle
outside
drunk
to
as
smoke
hell.
weed for free. Leave me alone. Fuck. My own
You didn't
goddamn
put it
weed.
on this man.
Right. Get your own
Hey,
diet
nephew.
smoke. Here's the goddamn territory promo code. Get out of my house. Yes.
Hey there, nephew. You got some more of them special candies?
No.
Get the hell away from me,
Right.
Uncle Bob. Damn.
Special candy.
Fucking freeloader,
It's
man.
good for my gout.
Well, gentlemen, we are here today to talk a little bit different. We're not going to talk about this week in wrestling because, of course, all the Miracle on 34th Street fights and the St. Nicholas beatdown ladder matches. I don't care about that shit. That shit is just filler. So this week we wanted to give y'all something special, and we took a vote, and we're going to do that unicorn, that mythical episode that we've constantly talked about doing, the retro episode.
Yes.
We're going to talk our favorite shit, the worst shit that we remember from wrestling of old. So nothing in this past, decade. So enjoy, sit back, have some nostalgia, have a big ass glass of nostalgia juice with us, and come along for this ride.
Yeah.
So, with that said, I would say we're all pretty much lifelong wrestling fans. Free, I would like to start with you because we kind of found out at the same time that we're like, oh shit, you fuck with wrestling too? Oh, I didn't even know. I've been watching that shit. So it was one of those weird things. What period or what era that got you into wrestling that you remember, and like who was it particularly that got you into like that excitement of wrestling?
I would definitely say I came on as far as a wrestling fan during the Attitude Era. When I was little, everyone was a Hulk Hogan fan, whether you watched wrestling or not when you was a kid.
Yeah.
I remember I had what it wasn't. I forgot who made the toys. You remember the old school wrestling toys where you couldn't move their arms or nothing?
They're
I
like
forgot
rubber
who made
figures,
them.
hard rubber
Yeah,
figures. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
oh,
I had
those
like the
things.
Jake the Snake Roberts. It even came with Damien. I had that. I was a fan of Hulk Hogan, not really because I watched wrestling, because I saw the movies he was in, like Suburban Commando. I was like, oh, this is cool.
No
You
holds
were a
barred.
fan of Suburban.
Shout out to
I was-
Zeus.
I was like 6. I was like 6. I was
Mr.
like
Daddy.
5, 6 years old.
Dookie.
Fucking
So,
no holds barred.
But
Oh,
I never
man.
really watched until, hanging out with my cousins. They were bigger wrestling fans than I were and they put me on. And the match that really got me into wrestling was WrestleMania 10, the ladder match between Razor Ramon and Shawn Michaels.
Oh,
And then from then I started watching current wrestling. So this was like 97. So this was like right before the Attitude Era came in. So that's kind of that's the era I kind of got started.
okay.
That's what's up.
Well, I can say we have some similarities there. I definitely had I think it was Hulk Hogan that kind of led me into it too. It wasn't because of the eat your vitamins and drink your milk. It was just I want to say it was probably like 92, 93, somewhere around there. I was just flipping through the channels on a Saturday morning and I seen him, and it wasn't the actual shows, but they were just like doing the recaps, and Mean Gene was sitting behind or in front
Superstars.
of
That's what Superstars was.
Yeah. He's and then and let's go back to what happened there, because I wasn't paying for no fucking pay-per-view. I was broke. My mom was like, paper what? Shit. I was like, Cablevision wasn't on that shit. So I was just flipping through channels, and I seen Hulk Hogan get in the ring with Yokozuna and do like a stare down, and he ripped his shirt off. I was like, damn, that motherfucker's jacked. I love muscle. Like, I want to be like that when I'm grown, and I'm not. Everyone's seen how this turned out. Did not happen that way. But yeah, Hulk Hogan ripping the shirt. He had the charisma, that character, like the Hulkamaniacs, and him doing weird shit. And now just going back and watching those promos of him and Macho Man, him and Ultimate Warrior on so much cocaine is the most entertaining shit that you can watch. It's just noises. It's just like 2 minutes of weird.
Just weirdness in general, not just noises.
Right, all the guttural sounds.
All of it. So much grunting.
It is right. Like mom walking in, what you watch? Nothing.
Granted, no.
Don't look at me. But yeah, it was probably around that time when I watched some wrestling where I was like, oh, that's cool. But I think I really got captured the WCW age. Nitro popped off, and really it was like Chris Jericho and those cruiserweights, Dean Malenko, and Rey Mysterio. I remember, I think I snuck and ordered Great American Bash. And at that time, I was just lying to my mom, like, "Oh, what's happening?" But you could just push a button, like, I'm watching this shit. Now I tape it, and I had Great American Bash. And I think Dean Malenko versus Rey Mysterio, and he did a tilt-a-whirl backbreaker where he threw Rey Mysterio's ass up in the air, and then jumped off the top rope and caught him on his knee. And I was like, "What the fuck?" My head exploded. I died as a child. I came back reincarnated. It was amazing. So yeah, that was what it did for me. It was always the cruiserweights. That's why I'm not a fan of the big meaty man slapping me, because that's never what got it for me. It was always the coolest other shit. BA, how about yourself?
I have a very storied history with wrestling. I have an uncle that's very like close to me in age. He's like 10 years apart from me, 10 years older than me. So he's like more of like an older brother, and he was in my house growing up. So I grew up with like in my grandma's house. It was like me, my brother Matt, who's closest to age than me, my mom, my grandparents, my aunties, and my uncle, all in the same house. So I didn't have a lot of choice in what was on the television. So with that being said, so my uncle was watching like there was this wrestling that used to come on ESPN back in the day. I want to say it was like USWA or something like that. But like they had like dudes that ended up in WCW in the early 90s at some point. But that was like the first time I saw, like, and this is random as hell, like I saw the Patriot before he was the Patriot in WWF, right, / WWE. I saw Scott Hall before he was Scott Hall, like, and as Razor Ramon. So I saw these dudes. I had no idea who they were. But it used to come on like after I would get home from like first, second grade. It would be on, and my uncle would be there watching it because high school got out earlier than elementary school. So that was like where the vagueness of it, like, oh, this stuff is cool. We always watch it, but I don't know what it is, but it's cool. And we always be going crazy. Me and my brother be going crazy, wrestling in the living room and in the basement and stuff like that all the time. Shout out to, and God rest my grandmother's soul, for all the couches that my brother Matt broke, flipping off of them and shit like that.
Do not do this at home, kids.
Oh yeah.
Shit.
Yes, please. And then from there, my earliest memories of wrestling, or that I actually remember, was like old school WWF. I remember being petrified of Papa Shango and Undertaker as a kid. Like anytime Undertaker would come on the screen, me and my brother would book it out of the living room and go like stand behind this wall and like peek around the corner until he like got finished with his entrance and shit like that. So
y'all was there for days.
Yeah,
that's what you're saying.
Yes, basically. We would be there wait till the music stopped, until he was in the ring when the lights are on. 4 days later. Right. Undertaker messed with me so bad that the 94 Royal Rumble, I had to go back and watch it as an adult, knowing what I was looking at. But that scene where everybody throw Undertaker in the casket, like Yokozuna, all like of Jim Cornette's bad guy group, like all them dudes,
the Rogues Gallery of Badness,
right? They all threw him, like all these people, like 10 people got him into this casket, and they roll him down the aisleway, and then there's just like this generic ass like clip art video of the Undertaker on the Titantron rising up from the screen. And I thought that shit, dude, I had legit nightmares about that shit, bro. Because I was like, how are they doing this in real life? Like, this is not a cartoon. Like, this is really happening. I saw this shit. So,
how are they doing?
Earliest memories of wrestling.
It's a demon.
So that's the earliest memories. And then, you know, I'm a kid. Me and E-Ray grew up together. Like, I've known E-Ray from like late elementary school days on, and E-Ray like would come over to my house, like, cause once I'd say WrestleMania 10, Free, it's funny you bring that up. That was the first pay-per-view that like my mom had ordered, and then she got every single WrestleMania up until like essentially stopped watching wrestling for real. So like my house was like the house where people knew like, oh, BA's ordering pay-per-view. Like, his mom always ordered it. People used to think I was rich when I really wasn't, but my mom was used to be on it.
Literally. I'm like, wait, you're ordering WrestleMania?
Right.
That's $70.
Right.
My mom ain't gonna let me do that shit.
My living room used to be jumping at least once a year. And then the cable would be off the next month because they'd be like, you just ordered that pay-per-view. You ain't watching no damn wrestling. You got wrestling for the next year in one day. Come on, man.
Literally WrestleMania.
Right. You better enjoy this shit.
Culmination.
Right. This is it for like the next 4 months, like till like SummerSlam. So but no, that's the earliest.
Shawn Michaels get back.
Right. I thought he lost his smile. So that's like the earliest memories. And then I was a big Attitude Era kid, Monday Night Wars, flicking the channels between Nitro and Raw. So I mean, it's typical origin stories from there on out.
So let me start there. With that said, everybody chose a side. We eventually I think everybody was started one way, and then as the Monday Night Wars progressed, you tried to do both, but eventually one of them won out. Free.
It went exactly how you said it went. But I especially like the time remember when WCW started at 8 and WWE started at 9. So that was the perfect time because I could watch the full hour in Nitro, and then when Raw comes on, I could start switching back and forth. So that's what I did. I probably did it all the way through. I don't think there was a time where I was like, unless there was like an event where like, if it was a main event I really wanted to watch, okay, I'm watching WCW for the majority. If it's a WWE event, okay, I'm watching WWE for the majority. But I pretty much flipped back and forth until Vince was on both shows.
You a good one. Because I know on my side of the table, I was just flicking. Like, I stopped flicking back and forth, I want to say, when like the NWO stuff got ridiculous and crazy.
Yeah.
Like when there was just nonstop, just like when, I mean, even though I respected looking back on it, but I wasn't around too much for the LWO when Eddie Guerrero started that shit up. When they could not figure out if it was NWO Black and White, NWO Wolfpack, is who's who on what side. So that's when I started sticking on Raw more. But like with all that being said, I was still kind of like flick back and forth, but the flicking, I want to say it slowed down like 98, 99. That's why I like kind of stopped like messing with WCW. And then when Jeff Jarrett got on in like all the storylines in WCW, that shit just turned me off. I knew I shouldn't probably be watching that.
But you know what? I still probably watched them because that's when Booker T was getting his push. And
yeah,
and so I think I was still invested because I'm a big Booker T guy, so yeah, that kind of kept me invested. And then stuff that's terrible now, I was kind of marking out for then, like the No Limit Soldiers, because you know back then like Master P was really big.
Oh
like,
yeah,
when you look at it now, it's fucking awful when you look at it now. But back then as a kid, I'm like, this is tight. Master P, I love Master P. And Rey Mysterio, they got him in like camouflage camouflage
mask
overalls.
off.
What's going on? Yeah,
looking like a toddler.
Right, yeah.
Rey Mysterio was
him and Conan and
right.
Yeah, Kid Free was like, this is amazing.
Look,
I can't be mad at that at all. As far as the whole
Twin Powers activate, because I was the same way. Like, oh my God, Rey Mysterio with No Limit Soldiers? Like, he gotta say, he was like, Ray was like, that shit was crazy.
I want my
Tiny.
mask. I wish I had my mask.
Right.
Right. I was like, why is he so smart? Because it looks like his face was so little. He had the finger waves and shit and the earrings. I remember this, and I was like, this is cool, but it probably wasn't. And then I was like, oh, Rey Mysterio came back to WWE, and it was a whole different Rey Mysterio. Then eventually, like, he got big. And I was like,
Good
this
point,
nigga
E-Ray.
is
I thought they were
huge.
two different Rey Mysterios for a moment in time. When he came back, when he started popping up in WWE, I'm like, because he got this crazy tattoo on his back. He jacked. He gained like 30 pounds. I was like seriously questioning if that was like, it was like y'all remember the Ultimate Warrior dying rumor as kids? Y'all remember ever hearing about that?
Yeah.
Yep. I thought it was one of them type of situations where they was trying to say like they're another Rey Mysterio, but yeah.
I mean,
Well, he paid for it because all that weight he put on, and like 5 years later, he was getting injured every other week.
True.
yeah, because your body
That's a
isn't
good
meant
point.
to handle that. This is
Yeah.
it, but this, I guess that's part of the allure of wrestling to me, and that we'll get into it a little bit later. But that's a part of what got me back into wrestling is that you would see these people like a Rey Mysterio that you grew up with, and like I said, I remember Rey Mysterio and Dean Malenko, and I'm like, this is incredible. The way they were, like, you watch that match, it literally stands up to what they're doing in AEW now. It doesn't feel like when you watch the old karate movies and you're like, oh, that movie is great. I love Big Trouble in Little China. And you watch it now and they're like, yeah. And it's so slow and terrible. No, it wasn't Resthold Mania. Them motherfuckers was going. And I was like, this is incredible. So that's the type of shit I was watching then. And to see Rey Mysterio continue through like that part where he was just one of those guys, to see him with Master P and develop into like this bigger persona, and then to end up WWE and all the different masks, the costumes, all that shit start really popping. Because that's what I remember from the video games, like NWO's Revenge and all that shit. You compete the coolest Rey Mysterio. Like, oh, I'm Spider-Man Rey Mysterio. Now I'm the Riddler Rey Mysterio, whatever the shit. But that was like the coolest thing on 64 to me. But moving from that and then watching it in WWE, and I remember leaving the product and coming back, and I was like, Rey Mysterio's a actual champion? Like, he's not like a baby? I was like, oh, this nigga's huge. I was like, that can't be the same Rey Mysterio, because he was so much bigger. And I get it now in my adult brain. Like, this is what you had to do because everyone knows how Vince operates. Gotta be big. Gotta be whatever. He had to see you as a champion. So that made sense. But again, as a kid, I was convinced that none of these people were the same people. Like, I was like, oh, that's not Ultimate Warrior. Ultimate Warrior is dead. It's got to be like 8 Ultimate Warriors.
Yeah,
it wasn't. I thought
I seriously
it was.
believe that shit in my heart too, man.
You don't know, and I was like, I think that's a part of the fun watching wrestling, and you just growing and like, well, what is this? And you never really know what was happening, especially as a kid. So I guess a good question would be, when did you get smart to the business of wrestling? Like, what was the last, I guess, suspension of disbelief for you? But then you watch it like, man, okay, hold up, this ain't real. Like, I swear, I remember, I was like, oh my God, Mankind versus like Triple H or some shit. And I was like, he's gonna kill him. Ah! And then like the next week or something, and I was like, oh, he's wrestling again. I think hit him with a hammer in the face or some shit.
I just think for me, as I got older, it just became like a natural progression. Like, okay, this is a show. It's not real. But I didn't really get smartened up to the business until I started watching wrestling again. I know we're going to get into that a little bit later. Mm-hmm. But there was a blog I used to read on IGN by a writer. It was like just the weekly wrestling wrap up. He would wrap up like what happened during the week of wrestling. And he used a lot of industry terms and kind of was going behind the scenes a lot of stuff too. And that's what kind of smartened me up. But at the same time, it made me like wrestling more because now I understand the behind the scenes. So I can watch it with a different eye.
With the adult
that's kind of how it went for me.
Yeah. For me, because I'm trying to think back, because that's a really good question. Like, knowing that it's a show and getting smart, I think, are two different things.
Okay, you're right.
I knew.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, because I was trying to sit there. I'm like, because I've known it's a show. I know it's not real. Like, you can go back to like early Attitude Era. I knew that stuff wasn't real. Like, I knew like Stone Cold wasn't beating the shit out of his boss and still allowed to work every Monday night and continue to do it. But to your point, Free, I ain't start like getting into like the dirt sheet aspect of it and getting smart to stuff probably until, this sounds crazy, to CM Punk pipe bomb.
To yesterday.
In all honesty.
Like,
right.
I thought this was real.
And I started
It's
popping
still
on this
real to
show.
me, damn it.
Right.
It's like, you been gonna let me book you just now got smart.
Right. You motherfuckers ruined it for
What
me.
they
No.
did to their bodies.
I would say, like, I remember when the pipe bomb happened, and this kind of getting into what we're gonna get into a little later. But reading into that kind of, because I wasn't watching at all when that happened. And I remember the job I was working at the time, and I was listening. I wouldn't even listen to podcasts. I was listening to like sports radio, and they were talking about it. And I was like, huh? Y'all talking about wrestling? Who fucking cares? And I Google it on like Yahoo. I'm like, is this real? Right. So that's where I kind of started looking into like the Dave Meltzers and all the smart marks of the world and what they have to say about the behind the scenes.
Okay. Well, I mean, you kind of led us there, but what made you stop?
I'm gonna be honest, E-Ray.
I was about to say, I got a theory here, because
we know each other. You kind of understand where this is going.
I'm gonna let you have it, because I got a theory about like just in general that I'll share with you guys. But
yeah,
let us know.
I'd be curious to hear your take on this, because we kind of, I feel like we separated at similar times from the product, maybe a little later from you, maybe, but for me, I can vividly remember the last pay-per-view I watched and was done with it. The ECW One Night Stand where RVD went over on John Cena. Like,
okay.
That was like the last time I paid attention to wrestling. And that was, I want to say, like, and I wasn't even like, I didn't pay attention in high school, like watching every week.
Yep.
I knew what was going on, but I wasn't like, oh shit, I just ordered whatever pay-per-view. Y'all should come over and watch it, because no, we out here trying to get pussy. Sorry. It's the honest truth of it.
Out in the streets.
So, right. Plays. You was running track. I was running track and playing football.
What?
No, not the other T word. Not running those. Never mind. Anyways, continue.
I was sending them to the track.
Exercise.
Yes. So
Yeah.
my focus on the weekends became towards other things. But that pay-per-view was like the last pay-per-view I cared about to watch, mostly because of me being just a diehard ECW fan and knowing what that pay-per-view stood for, and knowing like I hated John Cena at this point in time because I have younger brothers that are like 10, 12 years younger than me. And that was like their guy. And they were like, they were little at the time. Yeah. Oh yeah, man. My little brothers do that you can't see me shit all day.
They thought he was a superhero.
Oh yeah, absolutely, man. He was
Your
like,
brothers,
that's my little brothers. Oh yeah, exactly.
Like Stevie Wonder at the damn keyboard.
Oh my God. So yeah, watching Cena lose that match and watching my little brothers like agony, that was like the last joy I took in wrestling for a very long time. And then after that, I kind of just washed my hands of it. And then I would just catch it randomly. Like I remember when I got my first place, like living out in the suburb in Cleveland, and like I'm getting swapped up and Raw's on. I'm like, oh, sweet, Raw. Right. So it was like casual, just like, oh, that's cool. The Spirit Squad, who the fuck are they? So that's basically when I stopped. It wasn't just the cold turkey thing. It was just like I gradually just kept losing interest in it.
Gotcha.
Free. What about Free? I'm curious about Freestar. I know. So I want to hear you last year. Right?
Freestar's so different.
There's an exact moment that happened, not a match, but a moment on wrestling where I was like, you know what, this is enough wrestling for me. I think I'm good now. It's like, I think it's at the advent of the Ruthless Aggression era.
Okay.
And do you remember that one-legged wrestler?
Yes, Matt something. I know who you're talking about. He was on SmackDown. Vince McMahon was doing some crazy shit with him. Yes.
So Brock Lesnar threw him down a flight of stairs, and I was like, you know what? I'm good. I'm good. I am good. I don't need to watch this anymore.
Right. I seen this in YouTube. I didn't watch it live, but I saw somebody make a YouTube video about this dude's time in wrestling. Yeah, that happened. And then Vince McMahon tried to get him fired a bunch of times.
So I was like, you know what? I'm done with that. I don't need any more wrestling in my life. I'm good. So I'm kind of cold turkey, right? I never went back for a couple years. And it's crazy because it feels like a lot of years went by, but in reality, I probably stopped watching wrestling for maybe 3 or 4 years at the most. Because kind of similar to BA, when I got my own like on-campus apartment while I was in college, just be flipping the channels. I'm like, oh shit, wrestling's on. What's going on here? Oh, Edge is a main eventer now,
right?
And that music, that shit slaps,
right?
That song fucking slaps. But Deacon Batista, he's a main eventer. Like you said, Rey Mysterio's winning titles. Like, what the fuck's happening? Who is it? CM Punk. This dude's dope as hell.
That's what it is. That it does it every time, and I think that's the point. And like, we don't have to say why, because I think that is why. What brings you back to it. But before I enter that, have to like. BA touched on, but this is my theory. I've had this theory for so long because I find myself as, how would you say, probably one of the more eclectic humans and individuals on this planet. So I just like shit that, like, I see somebody else watching, I'm like, what's that? And I'm like, okay, that's weird. A lot of people like it. Let me see if I like it. Or a weird section of the population just enjoys this. I will check it out and see if I like it.
You're all about the subculture.
Yeah, the RPG games. I was like, what the fuck are people talking about Final Fantasy? Like,
oh, y'all can have those.
I like Street Fighter. I like beating the shit out of people. And then Final Fantasy, like, it's 3 discs. I'm like, okay. And then I started playing that, and I got sucked into it. I'm like, I'm reading the fucking text, like, okay, I gotta do this. And I was like, okay, I got into it. And then from, like, again, with wrestling, it wasn't WWE and the loose ropes and them punching each other. It's like all this lucha shit and the cruiserweights is what kind of brought me into it. Or anime. Like, it wasn't like, oh, this is cartoons, but I hate Tom and Jerry. I hate, like, I don't know, whatever, Looney Tunes, all the other bullshit. I need something that has a story, and anime is just cartoons or animated story, animated movies. So I'm like, oh, I can watch this because it's going somewhere. It's episodic, and it's not just people running around to a soundtrack of music. And then somebody goes into a hole in the wall and then gets slapped by a mallet. Like, this is fucking dumb. I need to see the things progress. So that was one of the things for me. But with that said, when you're a kid and you're just finding these random subdivisions and you just like the things you like, it's okay. As you start to, for males particularly, as you start to age up and go through your development, you then like, oh my gosh, I need to change this because women. Literally just, oh, this is stupid. I need women. So you can't like the things that you naturally gravitate towards for however old or young, because you're just like, this is dumb. Women won't respect it. And you just leave those things behind. Like, as a child, I left childish things. I am now a man. Nigga, you're 14. What are you talking about?
Right.
But that was the thing I learned. I was like, oh yeah, I don't mess with Dragon Ball Z no more, or I don't want to watch Batman the animated series or wrestling. I was like, oh, I had a Rock t-shirt. I remember this like clear as day in my mind. I was at one of the homies' houses and we were kicking it down the street. We were playing basketball in his driveway, and I was wearing it was the summertime. I was wearing one of my Rock t-shirts, and I was like, fucking loved it. I was looking for this shirt so much because it had The Rock on it. The best shirt ever, right? Then some chicks came over and I just felt immediately ashamed. I was like, why do I feel this way? As I'm looking at some breasts, I'm like, why do I feel this way?
Just don't mix.
And it just came over. And I was like, oh, I gotta get rid of this. I gotta just be like, yeah, I'm wearing black, all black, like just something. It has to be something different, right? But then as you learn, or the smart men learn, the things that you like make you you. They make you the individual, and that is what draws people to you. So all these different things and activities are what make you unique and somebody of interest that you can talk about. Oh, I played an instrument. Oh, I watched this. I've read that. I've done this. I've went there. I've traveled here. I've eaten this. I cook here. All the different things that the big amalgamations. And I think wrestling was another one of those where I was like, I can watch wrestling. I remember seeing a woman one time, and she was like, "You watch wrestling?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm going to a wrestling pay-per-view." And she's like, "You still watch it?" I was like, "Yeah, but I don't think it's real." I was like, in that sense, I was like, but in essence, it is a sport. It's like a choreographed dance. It's a art form, and it's like, and knowing the smartening of it and behind the scenes. And then she got onto it, and she started watching it with me, and it was like, oh, I get it now, because it's like, I'm not one of those guys like, it's still real to me, damn it. But I'm like somebody who can appreciate things, an artistic behind it, the artistic nature. So that is the thing that you learn, and I think you find out, oh, it's okay to just enjoy what you enjoy, to say the least. Yo, it's E-Ray, the quasi bad guy, the Diet Coke of evil, the side god of pod, and I'm here to tell y'all, come check out my show, Binge Flicks and Chill. You never know what you're gonna get, but we always talking some good shit when it comes to television and the latest movies. So we want to bring y'all in. We want to make sure you have a good time. You learn something, you laugh, you cry, you might stab a nigga or two. I don't know what you're gonna get, but that shit's popping. So come check out Binge Flicks and Chill. And it's me, E-Ray, and I'm out.
To kind of add into that theory, I think also part of it, and this might just be me because I work a stressful ass job. I think as you get older, the stuff you liked as you're younger, you appreciate it more. You start to gravitate to it because it becomes a form of stress relief.
150% right.
Right.
Yes.
So you know, I never stopped playing video games, but then there's certain video games I stopped playing as I got older, like Pokemon. But now I'm getting older, I'm like, man, I fuck with Pokemon. I really want to catch them all again. Like, fuck that. That sounds
Give me that red and blue Pokemon.
Right. It sounds peaceful too.
If only they just did red and blue. I have a personal vendetta against Pokemon because I'm like, dog, I remember at the most lit, it was 150 of them motherfuckers. 151 if you're special. But that's it. I don't need, what is it, 1,000 now?
There's like, I think 1,000.
It's out of control, man.
You won't get
like,
me.
this is what I just saw some.
Fuck you, Pokemon.
One of my little cousins was showing me something where Ash finally won the Pokemon tournament.
Yeah,
I'm like,
he's like
it
a
took him
Pokemon
fucking long
master now,
enough.
yeah.
Right. It took him 25 years.
Hey, The Mastery by Robert Greene. He's putting in his 10,000 hours.
That shit to heart.
It literally took 10,000 hours.
He took that to heart.
He was
God,
like, it's 150,000 no more to see. Like, this nigga Ash, a Pokemon master. I'm like 75 years old. He's like, yeah, Pikachu.
Right, man. I remember watching Ash
all my
get
Pokemon
Pikachu
died.
before like school in 7th grade. Like, come on, man.
God.
Like,
Not even 7th. I remember in like 6th or 5th grade where it was like
Yeah, you
Mummies
right.
Alive.
Yeah,
They
that's
did
when it.
Street Sharks and Pokemon.
Sharks.
And
That's
I'm
when
like,
Pokemon first started getting hot in America. Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
what the fuck?
I remember
That
Pokemon would
music-
come on at like 7 o'clock in the morning. That's how I would start
Yes.
my mornings every
Yeah,
day. Like
just
Pokemon.
before I'm getting ready to go to school.
Yep.
And that damn song was so powerful that
Yeah,
sang
get you out of
that shit, I'm
bed. Gotta catch
Hey.
a ball.
like, and my mom like, what is this soulful shit? I'm like,
I'm ready to attack the day.
Right, exactly.
like, yes, let's
You
go. And
teach me,
that's
I
what
teach
happened.
you.
So it's those things stick with us. 'Cause I remember that. I remember the Magic School Bus. And I'm like, that shit slaps. And then wrestling was always just the Nitro girls. Wow, they're going crazy. And just walk on a Monday Nitro. Explosions and shit. And then Raw had the Raw is War thing. That those are things that we can't forget. But again, we grew out of it. There was a time where we left. what brought you back is exactly what you were saying, Free. Watching, like, just sporadically and seeing something, and like, I don't know what it is about it, but whether it's a feeling of like, oh my, I remember this, and not seeing the evolution of these characters that you do remember, or seeing somebody new that looks dope, but you have no idea who they are, that you're like, I kind of want to know now, and you're just kind of curious, like, who is that guy? Let me check this out real quick. And you just sit down and you're like, I kind of fuck with him. Like, I remember Mr. Kennedy. Kennedy. I was like, that's a great gimmick. I didn't know who he was. He didn't like pop off like the charts for his wrestling, but that Mr. Kennedy gimmick with the old school microphone, it was money. So it's the things like that, or watching Eddie Guerrero. Like, wait, Eddie Guerrero is like, because I remember again in WCW, all the cruiserweight guys, him versus Psychosis like every other week, and all this other crazy shit going on.
The Parker.
Shout out to Ultimate Dragon.
Man, do the surfboard slap, all that shit, and now you see Eddie Guerrero. I'm like, damn, he is huge. Driving a lowrider, him and Chavo. Ooh, Chavo. Like, this is incredible. And now I was like, I need to see how this happened. And then I don't know how it is for y'all, because I'm sick. I need the story. I need to fill in the blanks. So when that happens, it just makes me interested. Like, oh, I don't want to miss this anymore. So I just started watching. I think it was damn, I can't remember the game. It was one of the wrestling games that I was playing, and it came on. I was like, oh, this looks incredible, because I probably played all the games for 64. They didn't look the best, but they were fun. I played Nitro, which was essentially like a glorified fighting game, and then Warzone was a good simulation, but it just wasn't good. And then I think it was one of the PlayStation 2 wrestling games, and I was like,
SmackDown. I had to be SmackDown.
Yeah, like SmackDown, Here Comes the Pain or something.
Oh yeah, that's
and
one
I was
of the
like,
ones.
I
right
didn't
there.
even know who Brock Lesnar was, but I just seen this big ass dude.
Yeah, that was
He's unstoppable in that game.
And I was like, who is this? And that made me, like, all the people I was playing with, it made me want to find out, like, who are these people? So that's when I started watching them. And once I started watching them on their on the shows, not knowing where they were in the storyline, it was more fun to play with them. So that also made it like a dope thing for me. So that I think we all share that in common. Like, how we got brought back is the fill in the blanks. Like, you gotta love the story.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So it's just one of those things where, you know, we all watched and we just come back together and like, okay, love this, and it's just different. So again, I would say that story that ties it in, and again, this is why we've been kind of, I would say, difficult on AEW a little bit in recent weeks, is because the lack of story. And for me, I need a story. So when it comes to the story, what was the, like, what did you grow up on that was like, oh, I love this story, or the crazy storyline angle, or something that really sucked you in? Because for me, I think it had to be the Ministry. That was
Ministry of Darkness.
It was so heavy to me. I was like, oh shit, that was the second or third iteration of the Undertaker.
So
Low-key,
yeah,
one of
like
my
what
favorite
DA was
ones.
saying, I was scared of the Undertaker during the Ministry of Darkness. I thought he was the damn devil during that. Yeah.
With
He
the
was on
cone shaped goatee.
some satanic
Right.
shit.
The hair braid pulled back. Yeah, I'm like, this nigga's the devil.
Viscera and the APA, the Acolytes, all types of crazy shit. That shit was wild back then. He was about to sacrifice Stephanie McMahon. I was like,
Right, he's gonna embalm Stone Cold alive.
we're gonna embalm him alive.
That's a fair story to have in that cut of cloth of greatness.
Man, that pushed the envelope. It was crazy.
Yeah, I'm trying to think what hit hard with me, man. It's a cheap answer, but honestly, like what sold me and had me like invested, where I had to watch every Monday, no matter what, was the NWO when they first came on the scene, and people just organically joining. And I think the episode that sticks out the most, and we might have talked about this on Let Me Book episodes in the past, but when Rey Mysterio got thrown like a fucking dart into the side of that trailer outside of where they were having their live event.
And when
you watch like the NWO documentary about that show, they said that they got so much heat from that. People were calling the police because they thought that it was something really, like somebody was really getting their ass whooped and jumped real life. So they called the real life police, like people like around where they were at. And yeah, that was probably the most bought in I was into the whole like wrestling storyline zeitgeist that this shit can be.
So I gotta ask, was that the same time where the infamous Hollywood Hulk Hogan spray paint meme comes from?
I think that's the same exact night. Yeah.
Like
on the trailer. Yeah, that's like one of the OG ones. One of the first ones.
I love that shit, like Hulk Hogan.
They see that in
a classic meme. It's so good. Yeah, it's been so many classic storylines in wrestling though, like that we bought into as a kid.
Too many.
I'm trying to think. The Ministry was definitely one. This is one like this a little bit more obscure, but I loved it. It was Stone Cold in his what era, where I think he was trying to win the championship, and he kidnapped Scott Hall. And I was crying because I thought it was the funniest thing I've ever seen. He's just running around. Hey, you wanna? Huh? What? And Scott Hall just taped to a chair, and he's rolling around places and being crazy Stone Cold. He's like, huh? What? Run my title shot? He just touches a lock of his hair, and I was like, this Stone Cold is fucking insane. And then he just well, now you ain't gonna do nothing else. Pushes him in a boiler room and just closes the door. And I was like, what is happening? This is great. Another great Stone Cold moment. Stone Cold has so many classic storyline moments. And I think it just kind of devolves. It's not even storyline anymore. It's just Stone Cold moments when he beats the shit out of Vince McMahon in the hospital.
Oh yeah.
The best part about that is when he grabbed his leg and was just beating on his leg.
Oh yeah.
Son of a bitch. Austin. Oh, I love it.
I'll take it from here, nurse.
Right.
You look like you're gonna need a bottle. Right.
The Brian Pillman escapades at his house
with the gun.
I thought that was real. Pillman's got a gun. I thought that shit was real.
They got in trouble for that. Vince had to apologize.
Oh yeah, it was so abrupt and crazy. Cause you see Stone Cold fighting real life NFL players outside. Like them dudes was legit in the league that he was fighting. And then he come up in the house. All you see is Pillman pointing the gun, and then the screen go to like static. It was nuts. And then they just come back to Raw like, oh, here's the match with Goldust and Farouk. Like, what? You don't hear nothing else about that whole storyline again. It just ended right there. Wild.
If I could go back and just like add something to that moment, I would just.
It needs some conclusion.
It just needs.
For real.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's it. All of that. Done. Easy peasy. Lemon squeeze.
Yes, sir.
It's over. Another. I'm trying to think other moments that like really captivated me as a kid. Twofold. The Rock in his corporate days with the Versace shirts. Just
my favorite Rock, God. In all honesty. Corporate Absolutely. Rock was my favorite.
No doubt about it. It was like this. I love heels. There's nothing about like The Rock is probably one of my favorites because he just had all the charisma. He was just such a dick, and it's like, man, this dude's cool. I don't know why he's cool, but he just has it. He has whatever it is. he got it. And then Stone Cold, because he just didn't give a shit. So it's like, authority doesn't matter. So like, these are the 1A and 1Bs. And I would always be like, man, I thought The Rock was in the WWE for much longer than he was. His reign was very short. And
super short.
And not to mention, he didn't really win that much. Like, so it's very interesting how The Rock just rose to this prominence and how much he's in our minds or in the zeitgeist of wrestling. When, what was it, like maybe 2 years, 3 years?
His run was very, even Austin's run, when you think about it, wasn't that long.
No, they weren't.
But, in comparison to
the Rock and Undertaker are perfect examples of, if you're hot, you don't need the belt. Like, if you nailed your character, and you get people to respond on a consistent basis, you don't need the belt to be successful
at all. And I mean, I think that was the point. The Rock was the corporate guy, and he would do all the crazy shit. I remember what was the other one, when Kurt Angle, that was a good one. Kurt Angle, I'm mad because I stopped watching wrestling around Kurt Angle just being like the greatest performer ever, and that's one thing I do regret. I wish I would have stayed around to catch like those Kurt Angle days where he was just giving the craziest matches.
The TNA days
of his life. No, well, before he was on all the perks still in WWE. That's why he got fired. But
fair enough.
He was, before he started looking like that I always say he looked like the UFC dude. I can't remember his name.
He looked like
I know exactly who you're talking about. From Incredible, from the what the fuck was those movies called? Randy Couture.
Yes, that's what he looked like.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, how does he look that way? Because he was so skinny and his eyes were so intense. I was like, that's not Kurt Angle. I was like, that's Randy Couture. And it was like, no, that was Kurt Angle. But before that, and when he was in WWE, he was still like kind of thick-necked, big, and he was just wrestling. He was wrestling the Benoits. He was wrestling the Rock. Killed The Rock a few times with some
Triple
great
H.
shit. Triple H. He was a part of that. He was part of that SmackDown 6 with all the people who were just putting on fantastic matches with Jericho and Edge. All of them. He was a part. He was right in the mix, and I was like, man, I remember being at BA's house when we were younger, and I was like, I love The Rock. The Rock and Sock connection was hilarious to me. All the random people, and then BA would pop when that music hit. I was like,
damn right.
What is wrong with you? He was like, I love him. You sound like a chick that baby dad about to go to jail. I love him. I love him. Take me, not him. All right. I was like, I don't understand. Because the gimmick was so corny, it drove me crazy. But then watching his wrestling, his in-ring work was so fantastic.
Undeniable.
And then it was like, oh, I'm being worked. I didn't understand it as a kid. I think it clicked with me. I was like, oh no, he's bad. And I was like, I like bad guys. I was like, he's annoying, but it's so good. It's so annoying that it's good. And I was like,
it was such inspired booking. Let's take a legit Olympic hero and make him pompous and annoying. Like, it's
like just shove his achievements in your face.
Chef
kiss.
Yeah.
I'm an Olympic gold medalist.
Mm-hmm.
You don't treat me like that. You don't boo me. And it's like, oh no, yeah, we gotta boo you. And it's like, oh, it's so good. Or vice versa.
They could have tried to make him Hogan or do the Lex Express with him instead and all this stuff. And it might have been hot for a little bit, but it would have petered out eventually.
That was a great point. The Lex Express was one of the things I didn't know about, like, Lex Luger. Like, I remember him from WCW, but it didn't make sense to me. Like, I was like, I don't remember his WWE run. But it was because of that. He was the guy who was like, I'm going to beat Yokozuna, and I'm going to travel on a bus. And I was like, why? And I until watching his documentary on that on A&E or whatever. It was great.
Biography, yeah.
And I was like, oh shit, and I never understood. And then I looked him up because I was just curious. I love muscle guys. I was like, I I wonder what he looks like now. I was saying like, oh, what the fuck happened? I was like, oh shit. And I was like, oh man. So I started reading, and I was like, oh, doing the research. I'm like, oh, that's crazy. So just finding out what happened to him and seeing how humble he is and how shit changes your life. But it was different because he was so vain, he was so into himself, and clearly a heel. But they were just trying to push this guy as like Blaze or like one of the gladiators. I'm Jercules or whatever.
Jercules.
And the booking was so dumb because he pretty much lost the match. And he celebrated like he won.
Oh, that SummerSlam? That was sad, bro. I forgot about they erased that from the history books. I completely blocked that out of my memory.
And then he went to WrestleMania and lost again.
I never understood that main event at WrestleMania 10, in all honesty. The whole Bret Hart versus Yokozuna and Yokozuna versus Lex Luger and Bret Hart somehow.
The world title picture in WrestleMania 9 and 10 was very strange. Like, that year build up from WrestleMania to WrestleMania, that was very, very strange.
You can thank Hulk Hogan for that.
Yeah, I was just about to say
he didn't know what he was doing. He doesn't
work for me, brother.
Hulk Hogan in the early 90s was so toxic, bro. So toxic because he could have just gone and made these movies he wanted to make. He didn't want to give up his spot. So anytime he would come back, he would do stuff problematic for booking because it's Hulk. And then he would disappear when he didn't want to work. That whole era, they lucky that they came out the way they did, dealing with all that. And the steroid trial on top of that. He wasn't doing no favors for Vince either for that. So that whole period was so weird.
He popped up looking a lot smaller too.
Man, though, it looked like he got sick. That's how smaller he got.
Literally.
like
that's his music. I am a real American.
Right. You need to start taking your own vitamins, buddy. I don't know what the fuck you want.
He stopped taking his vitamins.
Right.
Which include an injection.
Special mail-in vitamins every 30 days. But yeah, man. That was some strange times for sure. The early 90s.
Well, I mean,
wrestling times.
I'm curious. Was Hulk Hogan ever one of you guys' favorite wrestlers?
I wouldn't say favorite.
Right. I was entertained by him, especially in his Hollywood era. He was a very good heel, but yeah, and I marked out every time. I can see that now. When he comes out to Voodoo Child playing that belt like a man.
That does it. It does something it's special.
Coolest shit, some of the coolest shit I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah. I was like, I love Hulk Hogan. Now he's evil Hulk Hogan. Love it. And didn't realize how much of a worker he's not. I never noticed that in my, because again, as a kid, I'm just into the gimmick. But as like now watching, like, man, he sucked. But I love the gimmick. Great gimmick.
Oh, and him as a heel, he could even be a worse worker than what he normally is. That's he leaned into it as a heel, right?
Because when you think about it, when he was Hollywood, how many matches did he ever actually have?
Like
not
5.
Not many. Yeah. And the matches he did have sucked. They all were underperformed.
Awful.
Yeah.
Awful, man. The biggest injustice was that Sting match at Starrcade.
I was like Hulk versus Sting, Hulk versus Goldberg, Hulk versus Kevin Nash,
Rowdy Piper,
and
to tell you, Warrior.
And to tell you what type of house I was in, we rarely ordered WCW pay-per-views growing up. It was always WWE. Yeah, heavily biased. The only one I remember ordering, there was that Halloween Havoc where Macho Man almost killed himself. That we ordered that one, and all those Stings popping in the ring.
Oh, I'm thinking of a different Halloween Havoc.
Oh, I'm thinking of the one, and it was Sting.
It was that one, but there was a bunch of fake ones that were they were like fans jumping in the ring and they were like fighting them. It was a crazy ass fucking. It was in a steel cage. It was Hulk Hogan versus Randy Savage. This was before it was Madness Macho. I think it was still WCW. Yeah, it was. And I remember him jumping off the cage. The cage, WCW cages was so tall for no reason, and he did like a double axe handle and came down on both of his legs. And if he would have landed one way or the other, that man's knees would have exploded. Look that shit up on YouTube. It's wild to see now. But in that match there was a bunch of like fake stings that just infiltrated the ring. It's a crazy WCW match. But yeah, didn't order a lot of those growing up. Pay-per-view.
I remember ordering of course the Halloween Havoc with Goldberg and DDP. I feel like everyone saw that one.
Yeah, they ran out of time at the end.
Right.
And
they were having a banger. Best match of Goldberg's career.
Yes.
I think I ordered the Starcade where the streak was broken.
Oh, the year of 98.
Yeah.
98.
Yeah,
Cattle
that's
Pride,
such an awful finish.
Yuck.
Such an awful finish.
Damn, that's what just make you sad. Like,
dude, it was like 3 dudes booking for themselves. If it wasn't Hawk, it was Kevin Nash, and if it wasn't Kevin Nash, it was Eric Bischoff putting what he wanted to put over, which was usually Hawk. So it was out of control, bro. That they should be thankful that stuff happened the way it did, positively for as long as it did, because that environment didn't spell for.
They just pushed down everybody else. They think about all the amazing talent that they had there that just never got a chance to shine. It was like, I ain't gonna even say it. It's a perfect opportunity. Not gonna do it. But they had Jericho, they had Rey Mysterio, like everybody who was there, Chris Benoit, all these people that were everybody who went on to define another company.
Because Eric Bischoff wasn't paying attention to them. That's why they all left.
Oh, you guys are too small, and
they were
these
going
guys
off of
guaranteed
vibes.
Contracts.
Yes,
they were going off the vibes.
Dude, it was nothing but vibes.
Yes.
Hey, this is working. Let's just keep doing it.
Yes, right. That's why they would have 30 dudes standing in the ring for promos where Hulk Hogan and Kevin Nash and Scott Hall just passed the mic between them and everybody else just stood there.
And you're like, I'm like, what the fuck? Norman Smiley's NWO now? When did that happen?
That's a whole. That deserves a whole podcast show. Norman Smiley, period. Like,
hey, underappreciated. Underappreciated.
I went back and watched some Norman Smiley matches when he was in the hardcore division. He had some.
He had
some wild shit going on, man.
That was
and that little dance he did.
the wiggle.
And then you know what makes it even more funny when you find out after the fact that he was British. That he's British. That makes it even more funny. Yes.
What?
Wow.
Norman Smiley's
My head
British.
is exploded and all over the computer screen.
You're making that up. I don't.
No, I swear to God, Norman Smiley's British.
I've never heard that.
These old Idris Elba ass brothers. What? I mean,
it makes sense. Wow. But
he in the ring looking like Warren Moon doing the shoulder.
Right. It makes sense.
What up, though? It's your boy Big Low Gross, and I'm letting y'all know, man, y'all listening to the Anotherverse, man. That's right. Sometime a while back, man, we converted the show from just a podcast, man, to the Anotherverse. So we got like 5 shows, you know what I'm saying? We got Music Impulse with Smiles. We got Let Me Book the Territory with E-Ray. We got Binge Flicks and Chill with E-Ray. We got the regular show, Inaudible Ruckus, that you're probably listening to now. And then we got the Skeeters podcast. And then we got some other shows that we're working on, man. So keep rocking with us, man, and welcome to your experience inside of the Inaudiverse, motherfucker.
Yeah, so it was I still don't believe you. I don't believe that Norman Smiley's British. I can't find it, but it wouldn't surprise me because of his particular nature of who he was in the ring. But at the same time, I am surprised to hear that because I just thought he was like one of the corny black people that was just in life. But he's a good coach for Tough Enough and NXT and stuff like that. So that's why I'm like, I don't know if I believe it. We will fact check this. We need a fact checker. Where's A-Dub to fact check all this shit?
Yeah, A-Dub, when you hear this, I need some YouTube research stat.
2023. Stay tuned to Let Me Book the Territory. We will let you know if Norman Smiley is really British. But I mean, away from Norman Smiley and his British nature, favorite era in the old days. What was your favorite era of WWE or WCW, ECW? Give us some moments.
You bring up ECW, E-Ray. I kind of lean towards the ECW era when I used to have to stay up till 2 a.m. on a Friday night.
After Mad TV and Sabu just bleeding for no reason.
Right. After Big Chuck and Little John and all that shit would come on. Shout out to anyone in the Cleveland area. You should know who Big Chuck and Little John is. But after all that, me and my brother Matt, like, doing the, you up? You fall asleep yet? To keep each other awake, to try to catch that glimpse, that 20, 30 minutes of
Scrambling
ECW.
TV.
I think, right, exactly. That's my favorite era. Just because ECW was like so like, did y'all see Rob Van Dam and Sabu fight? Like, who are those dudes? Like, you don't know who they are,
right?
You ain't like,
he did a backflip with a chair on his chest, like,
right. It was must see TV. It was like, I'm like comparing it to like
so
when,
hardcore.
Yes, I was about to say, like when you know somebody used to have, when someone would have a certain tape, so to speak, and you try to see that certain tape, and you like, I'll do whatever I gotta see this tape. Hey, you better see this tape, and that's ECW was that tape. So
like you heard the things about it, but you gotta see it for yourself.
You gotta see it. You gotta put your eyes on it. So that was my favorite era, man. Just that like trying to see the ECW on TV and them popping up even on WWF TV at the time. Like when they had their little mini invasion where Jerry Lawler was popping up on their stuff, and then Tommy Dreamer was popping up, and RVD and Bill Alfonso was popping up on WWF TV at the time. Yeah, it was wild, bro. So that was my favorite.
But I guess my thing is they were so. I'm infamously call AEW guys Steves. ECW was the Steves of the Steves. Like,
oh yeah, Steves that bleed.
Yeah, bleeds.
Steves that bleed.
So I'm like, who are these people? So literally, out of all those people you name, I knew like Rob Van Dam. And Tommy Dreamer never came across as like anybody of importance after ECW. I just see him like they always show his face. He had them crazy eyes.
He was just a violent dude. He didn't have a great moveset or anything. He was just always using weapons.
He was the Brooklyn Brawler with more.
I can't deny that tape.
He's exactly like the Brooklyn. That's an amazing analogy. And he was even like kind of a lovable loser in ECW. He was known for never winning the big match.
Yes, always. Sandman and Raven getting over on him all the time.
I actually, speaking of which, I seen a video that was hilarious. I didn't know anything about this. Where Kurt Angle actually debuted on ECW television at one of the pay-per-views at the same evening that Raven crucified the Sandman. And they put was it a crown of barbed wire on his head, and he's gushingly blood. And they strap him up to this cross, and he's just hanging there. And Raven is like, "Yeah, champion." And the crowd, and you know ECW crowds, they're going, ECW. They were silent. And it was like, Kurt Angle was like, "Look, excuse me, if you guys air anything with what I did earlier today with this, you're gonna hear from my lawyers." Yeah. And that's why you never seen it. And I was like,
before he knew it was all a work.
Yeah, it was crazy. He was like, "Oh, I'm not about to get." Well, he was like, "I don't care."
Right. He don't want his image caught up. Exactly.
Yeah, I was like, I don't want Christ, evangelist, all these people like that will ruin my career. Knowing I popped up on the show, I'm supposed to be a family guy or whatever, and they just sacrifice the niggas left and right. Here's Sandman, and Sandman was just great value Stone Cold. He was like,
I love the Sandman.
Sandman was good shit.
I never got
Smoking
it.
Square.
He's like your uncle when you have like family parties in the jumper, and your drunk uncle get in the jumper and just start throwing you around. That's the Sandman.
Taking it way too far.
Yeah,
literally. I was like, Sabu, I never understood. He just wear hammer pants and bleeds. It was ECW is interesting. I'll put it that way. I didn't. Most of their people didn't pop for me. Rod Van Dam was one of them. I was like, oh, he's dope. Never understood the Sabu or the Sandmans. Raven, I love Raven because WCW guy. So I was like, quote the Raven. Never
You didn't pop for the Dudleys at all? Not a Dudley guy?
I think I got hip to the Dudleys later. I didn't catch them in ECW.
Same.
They were way more off the hook in ECW as far as the stuff they used to say on the mic.
Yeah.
Bruh.
I like
Bully,
Rhino too, 'cause
AKA
that gore looked amazing.
Oh yeah.
Who?
The gore looked amazing. Rhino, and when he was in ECW,
just short. And then by the time I seen him, he was like fat and short. I was like, because WWE has a way of like desensitizing you to like normal human size. Because we were literally just looking for Von Wagners, and then you get a bunch of those people on your screen. Like, because I was just having this conversation the other day. Y'all see how big Billy Gunn is?
yeah,
Billy Gunn wasn't a small guy back in the day.
right.
But everybody else was so damn big, they made him look like a regular dude. Billy Gunn's a fucking linebacker getting clothesline, doing flips and shit like he's Darby Allin. And my mind didn't even process that until literally me, like yesterday, going back and watching a little bit of the videos, and like, I was watching a compilation of Bradshaw just clotheslining from hell people,
Man.
and he hit Billy Gunn with that shit. I was like, what?
Stiffest
That's like, Billy
clothesline
Gunn
in
is
the business.
big as hell. But because he's huge in AEW, but he was this like maybe 20 pounds lighter. But in WWE, he still was like 6'5", 6'6". That's a big ass dude. But he looked like a child in comparison to the big Canes and Undertaker ass people. So that just blows my mind, like how we consume these things and everything as a kid. Before we get out of here, I do want to just kind of rapid fire. I want to give the audience a treat of just asking y'all random questions. I'm gonna point to you. Fire off, give me an answer. If you can't answer, I'm gonna shit on you. I'm just gonna call you all types of names and make you feel bad about yourself. Are you ready for this?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. I'm ready to be insulted.
All right. Favorite wrestler? Free.
Depends on the day. Austin or Rock.
Okay. BA.
You already know the 3 eyes. Kurt Angle all day.
Intensity, integrity, igloos,
Intelligence,
Indians,
motherfucker.
Iridescent lighting.
Iridescent.
Okay. Worst gimmick you've ever seen? BA.
Worst gimmick? Easily.
Retro.
I sent it to you a couple weeks ago just as a joke when we were making our cover art. Mantar. What the fuck was that? That's easy. Half man, half beast. Ridiculous. No other question. Nothing tops Mantar. Sorry.
I mean,
And if something tops it, we making a whole episode about it. Period.
WW got some wild shit. They had they had the Spear Squad. That's a thing. They had Garbage Men. They had Cowboys. They
had
had
Repo
clowns.
Man. They had a guy named Repo Man. I'm here to take your shit.
But
What?
he was dressed like a Ninja Turtle.
Yeah,
Like,
just like a bandit. Like he had like
Correct.
he should have been dressed like Michael Myers. He's dressed like Leonardo.
Early 90s was out of control for gimmicks.
Okay.
Yeah, Kevin
Free.
Nash dressed as the fucking Wizard of Oz. Sorry, I had to say that.
I'm gonna say either Nation of Domination, Owen Hart, or Manly Man, William Regal. Yeah,
That shit was funny. The William Regal shit was funny. Owen Hart was out of place, but I wasn't mad at it because it was.
But
Owen
he made
Hart.
it work. Owen Hart just made shit
Make
work.
any gimmick work, man.
And I was like,
oh, he's
All right.
amazing. I just didn't understand the gimmick at all. I'm like, why is this white man in this group
wearing caution tape. I
Right.
was like, what is this? But,
Vince
Right.
really hates him, huh?
but
Oh
it worked.
yeah, big facts. It was
For
evident.
sure. I want to say, man, I guess the worst gimmick that I can think of right now that cracks me up. back in the day was got to be the Shockmaster. I got so many laughs out of it. I shit you not. Maybe an hour straight of watching that video, just rewinding it. The Shockmaster. Oh God!
The funnier shit is the stuff people are saying in the background, like fucking British Bulldog. Like he just fell on his big ass.
Or the announcer still trying to put him over as he fell over. And he's trying to get up.
Ole Anderson.
So big and massive. Oh God.
Ole Anderson was doing the voice. Out of control, man.
Oh, I was like, that's a fat ass Star Trooper. What the fuck?
Right, shiny ass stormtrooper helmet.
Right, bedazzled as fuck.
Nobody.
What is happening?
Oh my God, I am crying. That is so funny to me. I'm sorry. That took me out for a second. Okay,
Master.
That did. Oh shit!
Vincent Guerrero, like this is such good shit. This is such good shit.
I would literally just say that if I'm having a bad day, that's a video I can watch.
Outfit needs a deep dive.
He
was
was
wearing
like Cameron Grimes,
right?
Like Cameron Grimes with a stormtrooper.
But he looked like a stormtrooper, like a Viking aesthetic from like the waist down.
Not even. He was wearing like a bubble vest and a pair of like big leg boot cut jeans. Like what the fuck? They didn't even try to dress him up in anything.
That outfit. Okay, what's worse? Free. Shockmaster or Scripps?
Oh.
That's tough.
And I just saw internet like pictures of Scripps. I didn't even watch that episode of NXT.
Oh my God.
So
loose man.
I'm gonna still go Shockmaster just because it's like literally went down in history. Scripps is gonna be forgotten in like a week or two because they already know they fucked up with that.
That's a good point, Free. Good point.
Shockmaster is historic.
Shockmaster. I'm just gonna keep saying it how they said it. I have to agree with as E-Ray dies of laughter. I'm gonna agree with Free. The Shockmaster, there's no riding that ship. At least Scripps still has the opportunity to go into something else to save it. Shockmaster is forever etched into our brains as being Shockmaster, and there's nothing that can be changed about that. So yes.
Okay. Oh shit, that was good. Okay, I got you. Better streak. Sid Vicious or Jade Cargill?
Sid, all day. And he broke his leg on national television.
He just made up numbers. I'm 655-0.
Right.
What? You were just 3-0 yesterday.
Oh, you literally just unlocked a memory. That was in WCW, right?
Correct.
I remember that now. God damn, you literally just unlocked a memory like in real time.
As a wild boy.
He was making up numbers every week.
That's why it's so funny. It was Sid Vicious because he was like, "Oh shit, Goldberg ain't nothing. My streak, I'm 800-0."
Right.
Like last week, you were 200-0. Like,
and that's why. And that's why I kept watching WCW, even though they were definitely on the downturn, because people would just make shit up and they would get over it just on accident.
Oh yeah, man. They didn't give a fuck for the last 2 years.
Okay. But I'm gonna still say Jade.
Okay, appreciate it. A few more here. Whew, that still giving me a fucking laugh. Okay, better strong woman gimmick. Here we go. A 3-way: Bianca, Chyna, Rhea. Wait,
man.
4-way: Jacqueline.
What about 5-way? Beth Phoenix.
I'm gonna still say Chyna because I feel like Chyna's the template. I feel like Chyna is the template. China is the
Yes,
template.
I agree. China all
R.I.P.
day. Ninth wonder of the
R.I.P.
world.
Okay.
Yeah.
But would you give China the raw beef, the raw's war?
Hey,
Freak
respectfully,
disgusting. Like I seen those
respectfully,
videos.
I seen that table X-Pac.
I've sick.
I've spent one night in China a few times. I'm not.
Oh, Jesus.
Hey, man.
I'm not gonna lie to you.
Free is the real shock master.
Oh, yeah. Shock master. Look at this burger. Oh, I'm sorry, man.
We've devolved. It's off the rails.
It's all the Shockmaster's fault, man. You can't break the Shockmaster is like a forbidden word.
It's so funny. My stomach hurt. BA, really briefly, to put an end to this. If you could just fantasy book 2 matches, or yes. I'm gonna cut it short. 2 matches of retro wrestlers that you never got to see have a match. Give it to me.
This is easy. In their primes, Undertaker and Sting as match number 1. Number 2 would be Goldberg and Stone Cold. That's the only matches that in their primes that we never got that we should have gotten. So that's what pops off the top of the brain. What about you, Free? What you thinking?
I also have 2. Number 1, Shawn Michaels versus The Rock. We know backstage politics prevented that from happening, but I would have loved to see that. Number 2, this is just because I want to get this in. I was looking for a way to get this in, but I couldn't. So I'm using the opportunity now to get it in. I want to see a triple threat between D'Lo Brown, Booker T, and Chris Jericho for the world title. Because those are all really 3 underappreciated wrestlers in my time, especially D'Lo Brown.
Yeah.
I always felt like D'Lo Brown had main event potential. I popped for the Eurocontinental Championship era. I was watching Shotgun Saturday Night at like 11 o'clock at night just to see him main event the 1-hour show.
He had
like
a fucking bulletproof vest on.
D'Lo was one of my favorite players. He had the WrestleMania 2000.
He had the hardest entrance music in WWE in the Attitude Era. You looking at the real deal now?
I was like, oh shit.
I was a big
that
D'Lo
always
Brown.
Give me a headache. I'm doing it.
Yeah.
Right now.
I was always a big D'Lo Brown fan.
Right.
And Sidewalk Slam was amazing. I love it.
Yeah, the lowdown. Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, the lowdown was dope.
I feel like if you're black, you have to do his frog splash. You can't do any other type of frog splash.
Yeah, loved it.
Got to.
I would say I love The Rock versus Shawn Michaels. I know that would have went crazy. That just it would have been amazing.
Oh yeah.
But I would say probably give me The Rock, Triple H, and Booker T in a triple threat.
No racist gimmicks from Triple H.
Right, exactly. With no blackface. No blackface Triple H. You can't do that.
And let's have Booker T actually go over like he was supposed to.
Yes.
Big facts.
That's why I wanted. I got to write the
still mad about that.
Aren't we all? I think this is why Triple H given us so much great blackness and Carmelo Hayes and all this shit.
He's definitely paying his reparations back
wrong,
for all
I was wrong.
The reign of terror shit he was on.
Yeah. He gave us 2.0. Excuse me. Well, one more match. Dream match. Let's go with what's a good stipulation? Ladder match.
I'm sorry. I keep on envisioning the Shockmaster.
Hey, yeah, it's funny you say that. It's funny you say that. Because if you're having me fantasy book a ladder match, I'm picking people who should not ever be in a ladder match.
Right, like
the
two people that popped up in my brain, no business being in a ladder match. I was like Shockmaster and Otis. I want to see it.
Yeah, I want to see like a 6-man ladder match with the Undertaker, Big Show, Kurgan,
Kane, the Great Khali, and throw Dijak in there.
I want to see 7 torn ACLs in that match.
Yes. somebody's knees.
Nobody
gonna be,
walking out of here at all.
Right. Everybody.
That's the stipulation.
You
You don't.
every joint.
That's the stipulation. You don't grab a belt from the top of the ladder. You just gotta tear your ACL.
First one to stay around with 2 healthy ACLs wins. Everybody else is like, I blew it out.
Right.
Oh my god.
That would be tragic.
Great.
Oh, Kevin Nash in a ladder match. Oh my god.
Jeez.
He might die. He might not even survive that.
Big facts.
Okay. Lastly, to wrap this up, guys, I just want to know anything from your youth that you've seen or from the retro era of wrestling that you would want to see now come back, or something that you appreciated that they took from back then and brought back. I mean, especially because we just seen something in NXT that was a nice homage.
I got a good one for you to lead this off. I was just when we were waiting to start up, I was talking to Free. I was watching the 92 Royal Rumble. I started watching it last night as I was going to sleep. That's the tear in my eye Ric Flair promo. Before the Rumbles back in the day, everybody would kind of go up and freestyle their promos. And I was just sitting there thinking, like, God damn, like this would never be allowed in today's wrestling. Like all these jacked up cocaine fueled dudes with a camera and a microphone in front of them, live camera and microphone, would never happen. So I think one thing I would like to see come back, it doesn't have to be for everybody, but I think a lot of guys would be capable of doing their own promos again. I would like to see a little more looseness around promos. It would be one thing I would like to see back in today's wrestling.
Okay. Free.
For me, just a couple of things. Number one, just the work rate. I feel like when I stopped watching wrestling, I missed out on some banger matches during the Ruthless Aggression era.
Facts.
You know, the Shawn Michaels, Triple H, Benoit triple threat. You know, Eddie going over on Brock. Just a lot of bangers of that I missed out on. And I like that they're starting to bring that work rate back, especially since Triple H is kind of taking over. And then number two, I want to see traditional Survivor Series matches come back.
I think you're on your own there.
I was about to say this is a sore subject.
Not the brand warfare. I mean, like the traditional 5-on.
Yeah, like
traditional 5-on-5.
The ultimate mega maniacs versus the two cool dudes from school.
Like Big E's big meaty men slapping meat versus Mrs. Hollywood Entourage.
What?
Yeah. Yes. I'm okay with that cheese. I'm good with the cheese. Cheese.
Well, I need, traditional just be 5-on-5, but the survivor or whatever are entered into. If it's one person that survived the whole thing, if they book it that way, then that person gets the automatic number one contender
at stakes.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that's all it is. You just gotta have some stakes.
When was the last good Survivor Series elimination match? It was that Authority versus WWE when Sting came. That, to me, that's the last one I remember that was really good because there were stakes involved.
Yeah, well, the last one I remember, Survivor Series, it was the NXT one because it was just like, oh, we got so much new blood.
That one was good, yes. That was good.
My favorite by far.
I wasn't watching for the Authority one. I'd have to go back and watch that. I'll go watch that in the Peacock archives.
Yeah, throw that in and throw a link in the chat.
They had Dolph Ziggler looking like a main eventer in that match.
I love Dolph Ziggler. So
that last week,
I seen him win the NXT title in person.
Dolph gets shortchanged a lot by upper management. I don't know who he slept with that they pissed off. He Dolph had to have, man. He gets booked
I don't
like
think he cares at this point.
No, he absolutely doesn't. He just here for it's a free check, and he can do the stuff he really want to do on the side, which is stand up comedy.
Has hit pretty much all the random white chicks that you can think of.
Hey man,
in the WWE.
I'm still shocked he used to date Amy Schumer. I can't even imagine that.
Oh, he's got some stories.
He's a comedian. I was like, well, he'd be doing stand up from time to time. He was with Nikki Bella. What's the old girl? She do her little pose.
Raquel?
The 24/7 title holder.
Oh,
really?
Dana Brooke?
Yeah, Dana
really?
Brooke. He maybe clapping cheeks.
Good for Dog.
The Ziggles.
Right.
That's 216 in them, man. That's that Cleveland.
Right. I was like, you know, I get down, you know.
Oh yeah, man. You know, we scumbags at heart. We can't help it.
Right. Gotta say that quiet in the house of marriage.
Oh, my wife know who she married.
Hey. And guess what? Wake up. You about to get some.
I didn't say all that.
I just had a flashback. Now you gotta get it.
Right. They call me the equalizer. I just had a flashback. I need to act this out real quick. Oh, yes.
Who are you? It's the Shock Master. Shock Master.
Why are you putting a helmet on?
Oh, you wait. I'm about to trip through this door and rock your world. Well, guys, now that this podcast has devolved into just pure insanity, which is my favorite type, we're gonna get out of here and close out the year strong. I hope you guys enjoyed this. To let you know, honestly, this laughter could not have been brought to you anywhere else but by Diet Smoke. I'm telling you, it's gotta be in the stocking stuffers. It's definitely one of the things that will get your rocks off. BA is always chewing on the gummy before he enters the pod. Because that's how he quantum leaps. That is literally
popped it halfway through. Popped the gummy and I'm sweating.
Woo! Woo!
Delta 9 feeling fine, as he likes to say all the time. Me personally, I'm a Delta 8 guy. Free. We're gonna get free on the Diet Smoke train. Use our promo code Territory at dietsmoke.com. You can go ahead and get you some THC sodas. You can get you some Delta 8. When you're feeling a little bit more up to speed, hit you with that Delta 9. If you're feeling bold and beautiful, like, woo, woman. And then you body slam your girlfriend too. Your wife and your girlfriend, because you got both.
Oh.
Don't
Wait. You're not talking about me, right?
He ain't talking about me.
Talking about the Shock Master. But, guys, Diet Smoke will take care of all of your THC needs. And again, when you pop that gummy, you're going to ride Space Mountain as if Ric Flair was there beside you. It's incredible, but you will kick out at 2. Just letting you know. Other than that, guys, it's been a great time. I want to end this show by letting everybody know you can use our promo code Territory at dietsmoke.com to get 20% off your gummies. Federally legal THC products. Fantastic. But with that said, free. Let them know where you can find you, as well as your best Dusty Rhodes impression. Go.
Well, you talk about hard times. You can find me on Twitter at despicable_free and on Instagram at Freeluminati.
Thank you, Free. Free Roads. BA, let them know where they can find you, and then give us your best Dusty Rhodes impression.
Well, baby, you know that they can't find me anywhere, baby, because I don't have no social media. I don't do all that technology. That's not me. But I do dabble in our Twitter page for this illustrious, almightiest podcast at Let Me Book Pod, where you can find all the hottest of the hot takes and all of the strongest of the strong takes from yours truly here, BA. All my takes, I will let you know if they are not. But yes, you can find me there. And Happy New Year. Dusty out.
Happy New Year. You went from Dusty Rhodes to Bobby Boucher.
Right, real quick. I lost it and I tried to find it and I couldn't find it. I started out good. I started out good. And it's just that southern, it turned into Bobby Boucher. It went from Texas to Louisiana real quick.
It's me, your daddy, Roberto. I would say that to my son randomly, and I'll be cracking myself up. He be looking at me like, "What the fuck are you talking about, Dad?"
He's your daddy, Roberto. Oh gosh. Well, guys, as always, you can find me at E_RAY, the bad guy on the Instagrams, and you can find me, baby, on the Twitter machines at
_RAY. The hipster. And yes, baby, we like to party all the time. Because it's hard times. Hard times. I said hard times.
Yes, guys, it has been another great episode of Let Me Book the Territory and the final episode of the year. Please stay safe. Happy holidays. Enjoy yourself, because we sure will be enjoying ourselves. Let you get all the gifts that you wish. Let you have all the New Year's bliss. Make some babies, and do not use the Shockmaster on your significant other at any point in time. And we will see y'all in 2023. Let the madness wash over you. Yeah.
Too
And
sweet.
we're out.
Peace.